Hi there guys, it's Adrian here from IAmJadoreTV, and yes, if you're probably a subscriber from my channel, you're probably shocked at the title to this video, and I wanted to break down the reasons maybe why I probably switched from the Sony A7 III to the Canon 6D Mark II, and just off the first thing I want to say is a lot of the 6D Mark II got a lot of sort of bad reviews, people complaining about the dynamic range and all of this kind of stuff. And my main point or main issue was I just didn't like how everyone's now sort of become, via social media, like a lot of spec sheet readers rather than actually using cameras in real world scenarios and what you'd actually be using it for, to find out if the camera will be right for you. I actually completely forgot about the 6D Mark II. I was becoming one of those just spec sheet readers, expecting a camera to have a million things, and then when it doesn't have one thing out of the million, then we just write off the camera. I think some people in the community are relying on the camera far too much. They're expecting the camera to do more of the work, so they have to do less. And this is me including. This is why I'm not saying that the A7 III is a bad camera. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just found myself becoming one of those spec sheet readers and not realizing, like a camera ago or two cameras ago, I had literally less than 10% of the features that the A7 III had, and I was getting along just fine making YouTube videos. I had a manual focus 35mm for 2 years, so all the functions of the first A7 III I wasn't even using. And if you could go back on my feed, I was definitely getting some of my best work is done on those on that manual focus lens. And I feel like maybe some of us are just getting a bit lazy and just expecting the camera to do a lot of the work for us. So that's why I wanted to like sort of go back to basics, go back to a DSLR and get that sort of, I don't know how to word it, maybe that sort of feel and that hungriness to get the shot again. Because as I had the A7 III, I sort of, because literally the A7 III is a brilliant camera. I recommend if it suits you to definitely get it. My big thing was it didn't have a flip out screen, full rotating screen for me, for when I'm doing my vlogging, just filming in general. And as I'm getting more into YouTube, I found that to be more of a need than when I obviously was just taking pictures. Obviously I wouldn't need a flip out screen then. So I just found it was getting more sort of in the way that I didn't have a flip out screen and having to get another body or vlogging camera separately, where instead of having an all-in-one camera that can do it all. By all means, if the Sony A7 III had a flip out screen, there was no way I would have got rid of it. Like it was literally a perfect camera if it had a flip out screen. Now, when one of the reasons or benefits now that I've seen now switching to the 6D Mark II was when I had the A7 III, that it literally does not, there wouldn't be a shot out of focus. So when I was shooting with my 35mm Samyang, I'd be shooting, holding down the IAF, the model could move, the continuous IAF, the model would move, turn around, spin. There would not be a single shot out of focus, like at all. Not one shot would be out of focus. And I found myself shooting a lot, like at the end of each shoot I'd have quite a lot of images, because I could just press, and all of the images would be in focus. So I wasn't really paying attention to more like the composition I was using. I was just shooting, and then at the end of the shoot, obviously I'd get the composition I wanted, but obviously I'd have a lot of files that I wouldn't be using. And that's only as I've realized now, I've gone back to a DSLR with not having the EVF, having to check your settings, having to take more time. And I think it's slightly got me back to how I was shooting in the beginning and before I had a mirrorless. And not saying you can't do that with a mirrorless, but it's just made it a lot easier to taking that bit away. It's doing it a bit more for you, and that's probably one reason why I stepped back. I wanted to get that hungriness and that bit more passion and love with taking more time for the actual photo. Now for this 6D, all the speculations and all the reviews I've seen saying the dynamic range this, it hasn't got that, and all of this nonsense. For one, hardly anyone, and another thing was the 4K, that it doesn't have 4K. For one, hardly anyone out of the percentage has a 4K screen anyway. Most people watch YouTube on their phone. Again, they're not looking at it at 4K. 4K, it probably has, in my opinion, quite a long way before everyone has a 4K monitor. Just like when everyone had 720p, and now mostly everyone has a 1080p monitor. Now everyone's just about now got a 1080p monitor, let alone a 4K monitor. So filming in 4K for me is not a big deal at all. 1080p is fine. And as well as they're talking about the 6D with the dynamic range, I'll probably do a review of the images that I've taken with this, and I'll show you the dynamic range. I've been able to push the blacks all the way up and the shadows all the way up. There's not noise, there's no grain, there's no haze, there's like nothing. I don't know what people were shooting with or testing it with when they were making these reviews, but it's, yeah, it literally is why I say we need to stop being spec sheet readers and use it for what you'd actually be using it for. And yeah, because the camera, I literally between switching, I had it the A7 III one day, I switched it, I actually swapped it. London Camera Exchange in London, if you know that shop. I literally swapped it and I shot that exact same day, and I probably got some of the best images on that day with inexpensive lens, which is the 50-1.4, which I'm filming this with. Yeah, the Canon 50mm 1.4. That's probably one of my favorite shots I've shot, and it was literally just a off the whim sort of shoot, and amazing images. And yeah, the dynamic range is fine. The clarity and the color science of Canon, I've been trying to fight it for ages, but the color science for Canon is absolutely amazing. I was just like, I was shocked just at the back of the camera, and yeah, it's actually amazing. Another benefit is obviously, as I'm filming now, I can actually see myself. The last time I had a flip out full rotating screen is when I had the Canon 700D. That was 5 years ago now. That was the last time I had a full rotating screen, and that's obviously a crop sensor camera. So I like having a screen where I can actually see myself recording is literally amazing. Like, one of the only full frame camera with a flip out screen is unbeatable. But as I said before, I'm gonna do a review of the images so you can see, and hopefully provide some links maybe you can download and play with the raws yourself. But by all means, I'm not saying the A7 III is irrelevant. It is probably the best camera on the market for the money, in my opinion. Just, I mean, if you're not bothered about filming, or even if you are bothered about filming but you're not bothered about vlogging, so you're not bothered about seeing yourself, it is a perfect camera. The dynamic range is crazy, the clarity is crazy, 4K is excellent, all the features are great. I just believe we as a community probably just need to stop being such spec sheet readers and it not having one thing, and we need to realize, like, a generation of cameras ago we had none of this in-body stabilization, we had none of these features, we had none of this IAF. The focusing continuously was terrible in cameras. Like, we need to realize that it wasn't not long ago that we was getting along just fine without all of these features. But the main point is to build your knowledge of photography and the art of editing, and once you get that down to a T, you can pick up any camera, most cameras, and get amazing results. Like, there's probably, if you check my feed, if I didn't put in a description, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the A7 III, the Canon 6D Mark II, and I've even got images on my page from an A7R III, that you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between any of those. Just that's because of the way I edit and the style I have. I know how to manipulate any picture or any raw file from any camera and get the same tones, feel for my style. And the only reason how you're gonna know that is using it in real world situations, like whatever genre of photography that you do. Mine is portraits. I know what I can pull from just about any camera because I have the knowledge up here in the head of how to edit and my settings of the camera and everything. That is what you need to master without worrying about if the camera has this or it doesn't have that. There's always ways around everything, and I just think that's what we need to focus on, rather than worrying about the camera doesn't have one small feature and then we just exclude the camera like the 6D unfortunately has been, and it is a great camera. So that's probably my rant over for this video. But definitely, if it's not in you can check the cards above. If the video is out, it will definitely be in the card above. The video I'm talking about is the review of the raw files from the Canon 60 Mark II. But yeah, stay tuned and keep an update on my channel. Comment, like and subscribe, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next video.